Welcome to lesson 5. This is probably one of my favorite topics to discuss. And this one is titled, I Want to Feel Good. You know, there's the great Tao Te Ching has one of the great lessons is there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. And I want you to just, stop and replay that or write that down and really practice that idea. There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. And so in this particular lesson, we're going to talk about the idea of I want to feel good. We've set the foundation that, you're the only person thinking in your head. You're the sole creator of your reality. And you are therefore the only person responsible for your happiness. As we go through this experience and get programmed to thinking that things and people and experiences are the source of our happiness, it's no wonder we have such an epidemic of unhappiness in the world, because we're seeking outside of us what we should be looking for within. You're the only person responsible for your happiness. Really get that. Really spend some time thinking about that. There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Okay? And you are the sole person in charge of that. I mean, think about it. Do you want to be responsible for anyone else's happiness? Do you want the sun, the moon to rise and set on you to make 5 or 6 or 10 or 100 other people happy? Well, nobody else wants to be responsible for your happiness either. We are all here. We are all, first of all, connected. We all come from the same energy. We are all one. We all want the same things, and we are all responsible for our own happiness. And you know what? In the end, I think that's really empowering, because if you want to be happy, you don't have to wait for anything. You can do it right now. So if we've truly come to the acceptance that these experiences are happening for you, then you can now start to see the benefit in each one of them. All right, so here's where we get to choose. Number 1, do we want to be right or do we want to be happy? Is being right more important than your happiness? And why? Why is it more important? There's a wound. If you are triggered to always want to be right, there's some pride in there. And where does pride fall on that vibrational scale? If you're triggered to always want to be right, what's going on in there? Why not be in alignment, which is with your true self, which is being happy? So do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Do we want to be a host to our source or a hostage to our ego? Do we want to be a victim of circumstances and therefore powerless? Or do we want to be a victor over our circumstances and empowered? Do we want to accept responsibility for our happiness? Or do we want to constantly expect it to come from outside of us, from everyone and everything, which, by the way, we have no control over? So the possibility of being let down over and over and over by that being the source of our happiness is infinite. Okay? So here we're going to look at a couple of different ideas in order to help you find your way to happiness regardless of the circumstance that you experience. So if we can accept the following set of truths. First of all, we all basically want the same thing, right? We're all here sent to co-create, to build and establish lives, and to pursue our dreams and desires. We're all wanting essentially the same thing. Every one of us has come here to experience contrast, because that's what the universe was created with. Give them the contrast, they will reach for the better feeling thing. Okay, so we've gotten the contrast and we've gotten the programming, because all of our subconscious minds work the same way. Everything's being recorded. Most of us have experienced some kind of trauma in our life, which more than likely we are not even aware of, and we have not fully expressed and healed the emotional response behind it, which means we haven't released it and we're storing behavior, patterns, limiting beliefs, etc., regarding those active and open wounds. So therefore, basically, we're all walking around wounded to some degree, some more than others, whether by design and soul contract or by attraction through thoughts, beliefs, etc. We're all experiencing some level of trauma and the need for some level of healing at different levels. So then we can then knowing all of these things, we can accept more easily that only hurt people hurt people. I mean, let's be honest. Healthy people don't walk around hurting people because our natural state is love and light. So if we're acting in a manner outside of that, we're in misalignment. We're coming from a place of fear. We're coming from a place of wounding. So therefore, only hurt people are hurting people. Nobody's waking up in the morning asking themselves how they can personally come and piss you off today. Okay? So if we can accept that other people's behavior is a reflection of what's going on inside of them. Your behavior is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Little to nothing that anyone ever does really ever has anything to do with you. It is always about what's going on inside of them. You know, we just saw how the subconscious mind works, where all of those beliefs come from. And the fact that they're going to send us down, the subconscious is going to send us down that familiar pathway, even if we don't want to, because that's what it's programmed to do. What does that have to do with you? Absolutely nothing. So if nobody is waking up in the morning purposely trying to piss you off, then we've got to stop taking everything that happens personally and understand that if someone is behaving less than pleasing to us, they're hurting. What do hurt people need? Love. Not more hurt, not more wounding. They need love, okay? So if we think about, generally speaking, how someone else is behaving that's causing you to feel hurt or uncomfortable or less than pleasing, that is exactly how they're feeling. So if someone is behaving in a way that's making you feel frustrated, that's how they're feeling, frustrated, okay? So it's especially true for our children, okay? So if that's the case and we can start to look at this, this is where we get into real power here, people, okay? Because now we're practicing change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. So if we're looking at these things saying, okay, wait a second, this makes perfect sense. Now I understand that when someone is bringing into my life contrast or anger or fear or concern of any kind, that's because they're feeling that. It really has nothing to do with me. And they're feeling that based on a belief in their subconscious mind that's been planted or programmed, or a wound that has yet to be healed. Okay? So if my behaviors are based on those subconscious programmings, isn't everyone else's behaviors based on subconscious programming? Once again, only hurt people hurt people. So now we know that we get to choose how we feel in any given moment, no matter what's going on around us, because we know that we brought that experience to us for a benefit of teaching. This is not happening to us, it's happening for us. What can I learn from this? And we also know that if someone else, another person is involved in that experience, it's not about us, it's about them. And what can we learn? What can we offer? And what can we learn from that? So here we have our 5 magic words. In any situation regarding any person, place, or thing, You now have the choice to ask yourself one of those questions. Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Do I want to be a host to my God, to my source, or a host to my ego? Do I want to be victim, powerless, or victor, empowered? Do I want my responsibility for my happiness to be on myself, where I know I have control, or on others where I have no control? When you answer one of those questions, just pick one of them, answer that question, and then say, I want to feel good. There are your 5 magic words. Your ticket out of any situation is understanding you are in control. Nobody can make you feel any given way. You are the only person responsible for your happiness. You are the only thinker in your head. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Then you get to choose. I want to feel good. It's pretty powerful. You're in control. You have been the whole time. Now we're aware. So here's your exercise. Pick one of the 4 questions that you want to commit to asking yourself anytime you experience some contrast over the next week. Ask yourself, where do I want to be? And I want to feel good. Now we're going to talk about the health benefits of this in a later episode. But for now, just practice the actual exercise. Journal about your experience. Write down. And then here's what's really exciting. One of the things that I've noticed in my coaching business when this is going on is that people say, Ilona, you're not going to believe this. Some of the most amazing things have happened to me this week since I've been practicing I want to be happy. Because at the end of the day, how you feel is everything in this universe. Not that you're not allowed to experience contrast, absolutely, but we've got to experience in the way that gives the full expression and taking the change of how you look at that contrast so that you change the way you see things as a result of it. That is how you're going to use the power of the universe for manifesting and other things. But right now, we're just going to focus on how do you want to feel? And if you signed up for this course because you want to feel better and you're waiting for everybody and everything else outside of you to change, well, you're going to be waiting here for a very long time. You are in control. There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way, and you do get to choose. Now that you've done your observer exercise, if you need a moment, when you're asking yourself these questions and you just need to sort of separate from your thoughts for a minute, use that exercise. Ask yourself this question and then say the magic words. I want to feel good. And as you get more and more practiced with it, you can change the want to I choose to feel good, because it is your choice. Happy manifesting. I'd love to hear how these things are working for you. I'll see you in the next episode.